Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for today's Healthline 3. I'm Courtney Butts, and joining us today is Shed It Weight Loss and Wellness, and they're no stranger to Healthline. We have Irina Haskadas she's the co-owner of Shed It, and also Catherine Rogers-Schaefer, who's the PA, but we have a very special guest today, and Irina, I want you to introduce us to her.
Yes, so this is Crystal Chicamontes. You may know her from her morning show on K94.5. She also has a partying business, like a DJing business. Cool. It's called Bringing Life to the Party. So she's a very busy person here in our community, and she's also one of our fabulous patients at Shed It.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And she is going to talk about her experience today because, you know, Catherine and I, we can say a lot, but if you hear it from a patient who's actually gone through the entire process and has some success, I think it's great to share her testimony.
For sure, yes, and it's great for you because I'm sure to share your the progress that you've made and you know, encourage others to do it as well.
No, yeah, I think that I was one of those folks that was what is this? Needles? Like just the thought of everything freaked me out, and I was kind of the person that was like, all right, let everybody else be a guinea pig. Like this freaks me out. I didn't understand it, right? And at that point, all I knew was, I think it comes in the mail and you have to figure it out from there. So when I found out about Shed It, I found out that I call them the pioneers of the GLP-1 medication in Shreveport-Bossier in the Arklatex, because they were the first to have it, right? And they started, you know, they've done an incredible job educating the community of what it's about. So I watched several of my close friends lose the weight. And at that point I was like, okay, I gotta jump on before, like, what the heck is happening? But for me, it's, I think a lot of us women, we don't talk about it. We all have PCOS, right? It's more common than I think we realize. So I had done everything. I did 75 hard and completed it. And, you know, you basically shock your body for 75 days. It's 2 workouts a day. And at the end of it, I lost 18 pounds, which for somebody my size at the time, you know, it's, you think, wait, what's happening? So obviously my body wasn't really responding to everything. So when I came into Shed It, I was like, I'm at my wit's end. I love these women for all eternity, because I didn't realize though that Shed It is also, you walk in, and I hate the term like one-stop shop, right? But really that's what it is. It's a community of people that are like, hey, listen, and they really have, from the Fit 3D body scanner, which I think is the best kept secret in town, where you could walk in any day of the week that they're open. And because the scale's a liar. Right. I'm only down since I started, I think I'm only down, 34 pounds. But I went from a size 20 to a 14.
Wow.
And that to me just doesn't, 22 to a 14, and that just doesn't make sense, right? And so knowing that for me the scale's a liar, because I'm so active in the gym, and finally, you know, everything just started slowly coming off, and it's been a slow process for me. I think that's one thing that is that when I first started, I thought I'm gonna lose it as fast as I've seen other people lose it. And that's not my journey. My journey was slow and steady, and realizing that this is, you know, Shed It, the way that they tailored it, at least for me, can't speak for everybody else, is what is our long-term goal? Like, where are we trying to go? What is our health goals, and how can we implement it now? And then you just get like this cheat sheet of like, okay, so maybe you're not an expert in the kitchen. That's okay, we got you covered. They team up with several amazing folks here in town. And really, I think my best piece of advice to anybody that's maybe where I was, I'm the guinea pig. Like, I'm telling you right now, like, it is probably one of the best things that I've done for myself. And if that's the point of it, you go to somebody like Shed It, you go to a crew like Shed It, because you want people to hold your hand through it. At least I do. I'm not an expert when it comes to this. I'm going to show up, and if you tell me, hey, this is what we think works, let's do it. And I've come in and I've probably asked a lot of ridiculous questions, right? Like, and that's the beauty of it. Once again, they're holding your hand through the whole entire thing. So it's been one heck of a journey where I'm not even close to being done yet. So
yes, and like you mentioned, you know, this is the during part
yes,
of your
absolutely.
project. So
yeah, absolutely.
cool.
And so I will be going in there weekly. Once again, that Fit 3D body scanner, when you think, what is going on with my body, like I see it changing, and like being able to monitor like your muscle mass, like being able to monitor like what your muscles are doing.
There's a picture, yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is. That I mean, it looks intimidating, but once again, that thing right there is basically reminding you that your scale is a liar. So,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so, Irina, you know, first tell us a little bit about Shed It, and you know, kind of explain. So we talked about the GLP-1 medications. That's something that you offer, but you also have the Fit 3D body scanner that we just saw. But how does this all kind of come together to make this, like she said, one-stop shop for your patients?
So I really believe that weight loss is basically a trifecta. So we have the medication assistance, which is the GLP-1. Then we work with nutritionists, like if people don't feel comfortable cooking their own meals, we work with meal prep shops. So the nutrition is number 2. And then number 3 is some kind of movement workout.
Yeah.
So you will lose a lot of weight with those GLP-1s, but you want to make sure that you keep your muscle mass.
Yeah.
So I always repeat myself, you have to keep the muscle mass while you're on your weight loss journey. Because if you lose if you lose your muscle mass, at some point there will be hopefully a stop to the weight loss injections. And if you have no muscle mass left, you will really destroy your metabolism. So it will be impossible to keep the weight off for good, and sustainability will be over.
Yeah.
And then also, it's just important for your overall health to have some movement and exercise. Like in Germany, we say if you stop moving, you basically rust. And it's very true. And it makes everything much easier, especially when you're also on the GLP-1s and you don't, like your digestive system slows down. You need something to get your gut going, and movement just helps with it. And it can also be fun.
Right. I love that. If you stop moving, you rust.
Yeah, it's very true. In Germany,
it's like the tin can.
Wer
oil,
rastet, der rostet. And you know, that's what it is. Like if you stop moving, you rust. So the Fit 3D body scanner gives you information about your body composition. So as she said, a scale can be a liar because you may have lost more inches because your muscle mass takes less space than if you have fatty tissue.
Right.
So it is very important to track your progress. It is also super motivating when you see your silhouette shrink over time. And we recommend every patient that comes in to do it monthly. Like when they see us monthly for their appointment, to just do a Fit 3D body scan and see how their progress is doing, how their body composition is holding up, if you're at least keeping their muscle or preferably gain muscle mass. And it's also interesting for people that are not necessarily on the GLP-1s, just to see where they are.
Right. Okay. And you mentioned something about PCOS, Chica. Is that something that you struggled with for a long time?
Yeah. Absolutely. So you have that insulin resistance, right?
Yeah.
You have that I think in my mind, it wasn't a life sentence or anything, right?
Yeah.
But for some folks, I think they do see it that way. And realizing that if I could hone in and I call it the secret sauce, right? If I could hone in and I could hyper focus on, let me just go back to this. One thing that I do enjoy about Shed It, and I think that needs to be celebrated, is that they see you with the end in mind, right? This isn't like a, hey, we want you to stay on this medication for years and years to come. We want you to, that they're here and like, hey, we want to get you where you want to go. And if you want to come back and see us, we see, like, that's what I love most about them is they're like, all right, what are your goals? Where are we going? And let us give you all the tools to get there. And sharing that with them was, you know, I want to feel better. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I work and I've never been this tired in my life, you know, and at 33, that you shouldn't be that tired at 33. And so I went with the thought of how can I reverse my PCOS, because I'd seen a lot online and everything, and then realizing that weight loss was, 80% of it, right? And so the scene, in my personal life, in my, PCOS, just realizing it wasn't a life sentence, that I just had to get the right tools. And for me, once again, Shed It was a huge, so if you, I'm not a doctor, I'm by no means, but if you have kind of been, I don't know, maybe ignored, because I was ignored by several doctors where I was like, hey, like, what can we do? And they're just like, well, just go to the gym and just chicken and vegetables, you'll get there. And you're kind of just left with like, okay, but what now? And I know that there has to be somebody that's in the position that I was in, 40, 30 pounds ago. And yeah, so it has been incredible. My energy levels are, I wake up early every morning. And I went from, I don't know how I could keep doing this, to like, oh, I get to do this.
Yeah.
And so it's unreal what it's done for my energy.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you mentioned, coming up with a plan. So is that something that you would sit down with Catherine and
kind of
create that together?
You sit down in the hot seat. I know that's probably not what you call it, but yeah, we'll sit there and like we'll talk about, hey, she's gonna get onto you. Like your water intake isn't what it should be. She will get onto you. And also sitting down and going, hey, this worked for me, or hey, I had this. I mean, there was a time where I was like, I don't know why, but this is how my body's reacting. And like the beauty of having somebody that you see that is like, obviously, yes, accountability, but also somebody that could sit there and go, okay, wait, hold on, this isn't working. Let's try this. Let's move this around. Let's do. And so for me, that's been huge, where I could walk in and go, hey, my body is telling me this, or my body is doing this. What now? And they have an answer for everything. Let me just say that right now. They're miracle makers is what they are. So,
and it's also maybe encouragement that you wouldn't have maybe seen yourself, because I think sometimes when you see the day-to-day, you're not seeing the changes, but when you go and you talk to some like professionals that are on your team, they can also maybe encourage you that, no, this is really great, keep it up,
You said it perfect though, your team.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to Shed It, you hire a team, right? You hire, and I know that you touched on this just a minute ago, where they really do give you all these resources, and it's like, these are your agents, and they're like, all right, let's get to work for you. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. Oh, and it's just like the masterminds.
It takes the guesswork out of it. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't have the time or energy to, I wish I did. And that's ultimately why I did what all my buddies did, and just went over to Shed. So
awesome. Okay, so Catherine, we've talked a lot about GLP-1 medications, and but tell us how they work and how they're able to help your patients be successful with weight loss.
Yeah. So this is GLP is that class of medicine that stands for glucagon-like peptide. This whole class of medicine has been around a long time. They were initially just used for diabetics, but they're working on, it's a GLP or glucagon-like peptide receptor that's on your pancreas. So it's helping your body produce more insulin, but also respond better to the insulin in your body. So that's helping just after meals, your blood sugar helps your body know what to store, what to burn. So especially in cases like PCOS or people that are insulin resistant, it just helps your body respond better to what you're putting into it. So it, again, used for diabetics. For that reason, they took off in the last couple of years for weight loss, because they found that they also work on that hunger hormone. So just less thinking about food cravings, they call it food noise. So it helps just to, cut that down, and they can slow stomach and GI motility. So they help you to feel fuller sooner and longer. So really just kind of the trifecta even there of less cravings, fuller sooner, fuller longer, and helping your body better respond to what you're putting into it.
Yeah, okay. And I know that sometimes there's side effects associated with it. Have you had any side effects, Chica, from medications?
No. Okay, so I'm trying to think. So I'm born and raised into a restaurant family. So when we talked about the food noise, like, girl, I didn't know that there was life without food noise. Yeah. Like, what do you mean? You're like, I may wake up at 4 a.m., but by 5 a.m., I know what I'm having for lunch, right? Like, I already know what I'm that girl that will look at the menu, and I will, so now I look at the menu like I used to before, but now I'm going, okay, hold on, what's high in protein? You know, all of a sudden I find, listen, I love a boozy drink. All right. So the side effect that I will say, it's a very weird side effect, and I'm totally hijacking this from the doctor ladies, but I don't drink as much as I used to. It's very weird. That is a side effect that I don't know if it's talked about enough. But if you love a little drink at the end of the night, one thing that I always did to wind down, man, I thought I was Olivia Pope with my wine. You know, I just, you know, bottle of wine and your girl's good. All of a sudden, that was the weirdest side effect. I didn't feel good after I drank alcohol. And before I realized it, one day I just wasn't craving alcohol.
Yeah.
I didn't need it. It wasn't like a, and so I'm not saying I live a sober lifestyle now, because I'll enjoy a cocktail here and there, but that is the weirdest, like if I could sit here and say one of the weirdest side effects I've had, it's just all of a sudden alcohol is just kind of like, meh.
Which we've talked about how these medications can kind of change your cravings, not only for food, but other things. Catherine, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, they're starting to study it more in addiction stuff like alcohol or smoking. Just again, I think it's that food noise or just kind of that, just that hormone in our brains that's telling us that we're craving stuff. And so it's being studied in things like that too.
Yeah. Very interesting stuff. Well, it's already, we're halfway done with the Healthline. I can't believe it. It's gone by so fast. But I need to mention that we have our phone lines open. That number to call is 318-219-4569. It's right there on your screen at the bottom right. Yeah, or bottom left. Yeah, bottom right. You can give us a call, 318-219-4569. And if you have any questions about GLP-1s or injections or about Shed It Weight Loss and Wellness in Bossier City, you can give us a call and we'd be happy to answer your questions. So, Irina, so with Shed It, you mentioned that they were the pioneers, Chica, that you guys were the pioneers of kind of bringing the weight loss injections to this area. So how long have you guys been open, and how have you made an impact in the community?
We actually opened exactly 3 years ago. So June 1st of 2022, we opened our doors. Yep, and it's been a crazy journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the beginning when we started, there was not much to read about because it was so brand new. We basically learned by doing it. And then we were really positively surprised by that huge impact. Like back then, the providers and also myself, all of us knew the feeling about struggling with weight loss. Like all of us tried the fat diets, the crash diets, and yeah, after childbirth, it's just hard. Like we were exactly in the same shoes as the majority of our patients. And yeah, we started doing it and we saw the tremendous success. And I think by now, in those 3 years, we helped more than 5,000 people.
Wow.
Shed about, 60,000 pounds.
That's incredible.
And counting, because we're not done yet.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. And you know, what makes, we've talked about Shed It being like that one-stop shop, but you know, it seems like there was for a while just places popping up left and right of giving these out, these medications. So what makes, maybe Chica, you can, or you guys all can, this could be a group effort question, but what makes Shed It different, you know, than those other places that may be a little sketchy?
I mean, I'll say this right now. You hear about this when you hear somebody talking about, you know, hey, roofers, you don't get you know, you get a crazy hailstorm. You make sure that you pick you know, just somebody that's been in the market, somebody that's been around for a while, and you want the best of the best on it. And that's kind of the approach I took, because I did see some friends that went a different route, and went what they thought would be, the easy route, right? Like I'll just get it in the mail. The difference is that I get to drop in. I get to, you know, there have been times where I've been like, hey, Catherine, help me out with this, because this is what my body's doing. Is this normal? I actually have somebody that is in person that can walk me through it. And whereas to my friends are kind of like, you know, just, well, and so they'll call me and, hey, what do we do now? And so that's where you just, hey, just make the switch over. But yeah, no, I got to see several of my friends go through the process at Shed It, and that's really what sold me was I got people that don't, I mean, you look at them and you're like, how?
Right.
How? And they went with the pioneers of our market that have made it happen. And once again, when I say they hold your hand, to anybody that is possibly thinking about starting the journey, I held off for probably 8-9 months. Because I said I could probably do it myself if I just, start now, figure it out later. Like I've always said, I kind of always jumped in life when it came to that, except weight loss, where I was like, just jump in, figure it out later.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I did with Shed It, but I didn't have anything to figure out. So I think that's what sets Shed It apart, is that you're going to walk in every time. You could ask all the questions, which sometimes are probably like, Chica, we've been over this. And so, but I do have those questions like, wait, what's it doing to my body, right? Like, why am I feeling like this? Or why am I, came in with toner. I think I have headaches. Why? And then, getting called out. What's your water intake look like? Are you actually, it's like, whoa. And so it's been truly, truly an adventure. I'm not even gonna call it a journey, because this has been an adventure. There's been months where I've walked in going, I don't, the scale isn't changing, but my body's doing this weird thing. It's just like, oh no, you're trimming down. So it's slowly, it's once again, going back to the whole, hey, they team up with nutritionists, they team up with who you need and will guide you in the right direction. Whereas you go somewhere else, they don't have this Rolodex of folks that could reach out and help you. So I think that to me in itself is, you get your team, right? You get to pick your team.
I love that.
Well, and also speaking for you, I mean, you've been doing well with your water, you've been eating well, like high protein, you've been exercising. Chico plays tennis, she goes to the gym. I mean, she's, doing everything right. So it helps to have patients that, we can sit there and say all day long, what to do, but then whenever they follow through, then we really see good reward.
Yeah, that's such a good point. But we do have our first caller. Michelle, thanks for joining us. And what is your question today?
How safe is it for diabetics?
What was the question? Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
How safe is it for diabetics?
How safe is it for diabetics?
Oh, it's definitely safe for diabetics. This medication was actually initially made specifically for diabetics. So they have, we offer the semaglutide and tirzepatide, which is the compounded version. They also have Mounjaro, Wegovy, Ozempic, and so they were designed specifically for diabetics.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle, for joining us. And if you did have a question for our experts today, we're talking with Shed It Weight Loss and Wellness, and we're talking about the GLP-1 medications and other things that you guys offer as well. If you did have a question, give us a call. That number is 318-219-4569. So talking about those different types of medications, there's tirzepatide and semaglutide, of course, different types of brands and compounded version, but which one did you take, Chica?
I'm on tirzepatide.
Okay.
Yeah, the Zep. Yeah. And I've, we started low. That's the one thing that I do love. I think a lot of times when you order it maybe, or you want to go a different route, some folks are like, let me get, the strongest and best, and you wonder why people get sick, right? That's the case of one of my dear friends who got extremely sick. And so I for me personally, that's what worked. I tried other things in the past. But tirzepatide, that's what I'm rocking and rolling with. So that's, of course, what I swear by. And that's what two of my other dear friends that have lost. I have one friend that has lost, 80 pounds. And then one that's undisclosed. But if I were to gauge it, I'd say she's probably close to 100. So it's just, it's been really cool to watch my friends' lives transform, and I'm catching up to them. I'm going to catch up to them.
Oh, you will.
We'll get there. So, and it is worth throwing out there that I was active in the gym before I came to Shed It. I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't think about is if you're doing everything, you're showing up every day, you're going to the gym, and stuff isn't changing. Take that team and let that team work for you, because now it's just tennis is easier, right? Like it's you're out there playing along with everybody, whereas 6 months ago there's no way that I could play in the heat, that I could be out there like I am, and that my cardio would be what it is right now. So 5K, here we come. Watch out.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. Yes, girl.
Absolutely.
So let's look back, like let's say a year or even a year and a half ago, and you mentioned that that was about the time that you were deciding, well, should I do this or should I not do this? So what has changed in that last year and a half?
Oh my gosh. What has changed with my body? What has changed with me? What has changed with everything? I think that just, man, I don't know. I don't know what made me make the jump. Maybe it was watching everybody around me have so much success with it. Yeah. But I think also just hitting a wall personally, whereas like, you know, I feel like I'm doing everything right. I think that, you know, why I'm going to the gym, why everybody else, it's working for them, and like here I am. So obviously that was what made me make the jump. But yeah, like in my personal life, what's changed? The fact that I could load up and load out. I have Bringing Life to a Party, so I DJ just about every weekend. We're at different weddings and all that goodness. And setting up would take it out of me. Yeah. It was to the point where it's like I was hiring people to set up for me. I was hiring people to break down for me. That's all been eliminated.
Nice.
So I get to do that again by myself. That's awesome. Whereas that's the goal, right? And also I sleep better. Sleep has been just something that I didn't realize was evading me for so long. Right. And losing, 30 pounds, I didn't realize how much that in several inches at this point, but not realizing how much it'd bring my rest back. Yes. And all of a sudden I'm that person that's well rested.
It affects everything.
Right?
Well, we do have Michelle back on the line. Michelle, what was your question if you're still with us?
If you're on insulin, how safe is it?
If you're on insulin already, we would just have you sit down and we would do a consult with you. If you're already, at the point of insulin with diabetes, we would maybe need to watch that. I've had people that needed to decrease their insulin doses. But again, we would have you, check that, have you check your numbers at home, see, what your blood sugar is running, because the combination of these injections plus insulin could have your blood sugar running too low.
All right. Well, thanks, Michelle, for joining us. And of course, if you guys, maybe if you're listening and you did have a question or you're just curious about Shed It and how to get in touch with this team, Irina, can you share your contact information and phone number and all that jazz?
Yeah. So you can call or text us at 318-746-3880. You can also find us on Facebook and on Instagram. We are Shed It on Shed Road. On TikTok, we are Shed It 318, and we have a lot of fun reels come, which is completely out of my comfort zone, but I do it. Or you can just stop by and visit us in the office in Beaujeu. The address is 2211 Shed Road, and it's Suite B. That's the purple door.
All right. Okay. So we just have a couple minutes left. So Chica, tell us or leave us with this. If you pretend that, or we don't really have to pretend because we are talking to people at home. So let's say somebody is at home and they are like, oh, maybe I should consider this. What would your advice be for that person?
Baby girl, we ain't experts. We don't pretend to be. Hire the experts. Let them do it for you. We keep going back to this word team, right? I don't know. It's just my favorite word of the day today. But I am so obsessive, and there is one thing that I will never be obsessive about, right? And that I thought I'd never be obsessive about, and it was my health, because I didn't know where to start. I just didn't know where to start. I feel like we all have such crazy busy lives that the last thing in our mind is our health, but that's one of the most important things, right? So why not pick a crew that will put what should be your number one priority is their number one priority, and let them kind of carry you through.
Yeah.
And so that is my truly, I can't say anything that will shake somebody to tell them to do it, but I'll tell them, hey, let somebody that is obsessed with it help you and carry you through it, and that's Shed It.
Yeah, very well said. Well, 15 seconds left, so thanks guys for joining us. Again, Shed It, weight loss and wellness, Shed It on Shed Road in Bossier City. If you missed this will be on our website, ktbs.com/podcast. Thanks for joining us.